Hey guys, it's Omer from MMOs.com. Another quick week news recap of all major MMO news and announcements for the week ending April 30th, 2018. This is episode number 145 of the recap, and the first bit of news this week comes from War Portal regarding Ragnarok Online, as well as all other games on the War Portal platform, including Dragon Saga, Requiem, and Rose Online. With the new EU General Data Protection Regulation taking effect on May 25th, War Portal will be blocking access to their games from all European countries except for Russia and Eastern Europe. So if you play on War Portal from Europe, you won't be able to starting on May 25th. So what happened was the EU passed this big new regulation, which aims to protect user data and protect what companies can do with your data, but the cost of following these rules led to companies like War Portal just IP blocking all of Europe instead of trying to implement the new required changes. Fortunately, Ragnarok Europe is still a thing, but Europeans can no longer play on the international version of Ragnarok Online or other War Portal games. Another game, Super Monday Night Combat, announced they were shutting down because of this new EU law as well. Time will tell if it has effects on other games or not. Obviously, the EU just wants to protect consumers, but who knows what the effect of this will be in the long run. We'll talk more about this in tomorrow's podcast as well. Next up, it's more traditional MMO news. Blade & Soul is launching its latest update titled Eternal Night on May 9th, and with it, it'll rebalance material requirements for weapon and accessory upgrades and progression. One of the main changes is that moonstones won't be as prevalent as they once were, so upgrading legendary weapons and accessories will require less of them. Also including the upcoming Eternal Night update is a new 12-man raid, new legendary shields and gear, and much more. And again, that is launching on May 9th, which is actually the same day as the MapleStory 2 closed beta, so I'll probably be playing that instead. And speaking of MapleStory 2, while MapleStory 2 hype is still running pretty hot for its May 9th closed beta, the Korean version of MapleStory 2 is introducing its own Battle Royale mode called Mush King Championship, where up to 50 players join a match and fight to be the last one standing. It includes all the common elements of Battle Royale, including a blue circle, loot chests, traps, hiding, and more. It'll feature some PvE elements as well, which will help differentiate it from other Battle Royale games. While I'm not particularly excited for this game mode, I do love that MapleStory 2 is built around having all these crazy game modes outside of the core gameplay. I think those wacky elements is what makes MapleStory really different. You can do stuff outside the core gameplay. I am hyped for the May 9th English closed beta test. I expect that we'll be getting this game mode eventually in the future as well, but probably not right away. And moving right along, Defiance 2050 held another closed beta weekend for Xbox One and PS4 players this time around, and also released Founders Packs, which are priced between $19.99 and $49.99. And besides offering in-game goodies, they each offer players a 3-day head start once the game launches this summer. Defiance 2050 is the remake of the original Defiance game, and despite being called a remake, it's basically the same game, but with slightly improved visuals and some changes to the game's class system. The really only good change is that it was built from the ground up with free-to-play in mind, so all the previous paid DLC is free. And we don't know exactly when it's coming out, but it should be out this summer sometime for both PC and consoles. Next up, Elder Scrolls Online is launching Update 18 sometime in June, which will introduce the new login rewards, crown store gifting, and some combat changes. While login rewards and crown store gifting are pretty self-explanatory, the combat changes are fairly significant. Two-handed weapons now count for 2 item set bonuses, which should make them more viable. Tweaks are also being made to healers and tank abilities to make them more viable as well. Update 18 will be free to everyone who owns a copy of Elder Scrolls Online. The game's expansions and DLC cost money, but the base updates are always free for everyone. And if you haven't played ESO, it's actually one of the most popular newer MMORPGs out there. I say it's well worth giving a try. Up next, Dauntless, the upcoming free-to-play Monster Hunter-esque PC game, released details of the upcoming Seeking of the Horizon update, which launches on May 2nd. Remember, the game itself goes free-to-play once beta begins on May 24th as well. The Seeking the Horizon update overhauls the game's progression systems quite a bit to make it feel more rewarding. It's supposed to be a huge change, but we don't know too much about it until it actually launches. Seeking the Horizon also adds 2 new islands, new side quests, new gear keywords, new armor sets bonuses, a revamped stealth system, and much more. It's also probably the game's biggest update since it was first revealed. And again, it's coming right around the time the game is entering open beta relatively soon. Open beta is on May 24th, and this update is happening on May 2nd. Next up, some more industry data from SuperData Research. League of Legends, since its launch, is not the highest grossing PC game. For the month of March 2018, Dungeon Fighter Online took the crown, but time will tell if it was just a momentary blip or something else. Keep in mind, DFO is huge in China. It's not very popular here in the West, but it is the highest grossing and most popular MMORPG in the world thanks to its huge player base in China. Another SuperData news, Fortnite is still booming. It's the number 5 game on PC and the number 1 game on consoles in March, and it brought in $233 million in the month of March alone across all platforms. It's making a lot of money. And that's before the game even launched in China. Pretty curious to see how big Fortnite gets once it launches in China. It should be happening pretty soon, so we shouldn't have to wait too long to find out. Up next, Wild West Online is leaving early access and launching on May 10th on Steam for $29.99. This game actually had a good amount of hype behind it for a short while when it was first revealed, at least until people discovered that it was connected to Sergei Titov, the infamous developer behind War Z, Last Man Standing, and a bunch of other really duker games. I actually played one of the early alphas, and the concept was actually kind of neat, but it felt very content light. There just wasn't too much to do in the game besides walking around, shit-talking people, and just shooting people and talking in the proximity voice chat. But if I wanted to do that, I could just go play Rust. And actually, I still do play Rust. It's a really fun game. Still, perhaps they added more since I last played it, and if you're curious, you can check it out on May 10th. Next up, a whole lot of drama is happening at Daybreak Games. Remember how they were bought out by Columbus Nova a few years ago? Well, apparently Columbus Nova is affiliated with some Russian oligarchs, and the US Treasury Department had frozen assets related to Columbus Nova, and now perhaps because of those actions, Daybreak Games laid off about 70 employees and came out and said that they have no relationship with Columbus Nova, which is odd because the original press release a few years ago for the acquisition cited that they were specifically being bought out by Columbus Nova, but now the story that Daybreak is saying now is that a former Columbus Nova member actually bought Daybreak Games, not Columbus Nova itself. To make things even more interesting, it looks like Daybreak Games is in talks to sell itself. So I expect some big acquisition industry news surrounding Daybreak in the near future. I'm kind of curious to see who ends up buying the studio, but we'll have to wait and see. Next up, Legends of Aria Open Beta is set to begin in June, with Steam Early Access starting in July. I always thought Early Access came before Open Beta, but in Legends of Aria's case, it looks like Open Beta is coming first and then Early Access afterwards. Odd. The final wipe for the game will happen in July, and Kickstarter and Founders backers can finally begin their 1 week head start as the buy-to-play MMORPG opens itself to the public for the first time. Legends of Aria was previously known as Charge Online, and it's inspired by old school games like RuneScape and Ultima Online, where you have a skill-based progression system rather than a level-based one. This one's been in the works for quite a few years now, so it's good to see some release date attached to it finally. I'll definitely be giving it a try once it launches. Expect a first look when I do. Next, Fractured, the upcoming sandbox spatial OS-powered isometric MMORPG, released a pre-alpha gameplay video and announced that they'll be seeking to raise $250,000 on Kickstarter starting in June. As with any other MMO relying on crowdfunding, I remain skeptical, but obviously wish them well with Fractured. The head honcho behind Fractured was a developer at Mythic Interactive and worked on Link Realms, a relatively unknown, obscure Ultima Online-inspired MMORPG. The concept does seem pretty cool, but to make it happen is going to be hard. Spatial OS is cited as the game's secret sauce, and the reason why they think they can make such an ambitious game on a small budget. I remember Chronicles of Aria basically saying the same thing, but they eventually dropped Spatial OS earlier this year. While I will be backing Fractured, I wish them luck, and we'll be checking out if it ever launches. The next and last bit of news this week is yet another Battle Royale related news. Moonlight Blade, the Chinese MMORPG, is releasing its Battle Royale mode on the game's PvP test server. It's pretty interesting because it's an MMORPG implementing Battle Royale in a separate queue. So I think with how popular Battle Royale has gotten, we might even see Battle Royale on actual MMORPGs. It's cool to see MapleStory 2 doing it, Moonlight Blade is doing it as well. We've seen Path of Exile do it. I think we're going to see a lot more MMORPGs adding some kind of Battle Royale mode to it. Too bad Moonlight Blade is only out in South Korea and China right now. Hopefully a Western release will happen eventually. Anyway guys, that's it for MMO News this week. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the podcast. Later guys.